no matter how good you are, no matter how many years you've been in academia, how many research you've done, you will get rejected. You could be the biggest name in the field, you will get rejected.
Welcome to On The Go with Manav. I'm your host, Manav Hartono, and today I'm here with Stella. Two interesting facts about Stella are that she used to do opera and she is a certified practitioner in martial arts. Now, the purpose of today's discussion is to look into career journey from Stella's point of view on how she went from doing her undergraduate degree in psychology to now doing a doctorate degree in medical sciences in medical school. I'm very interested to actually learn more about how she was able to get into the PhD course at the age of 22 when she was applying, and the journey she's been through since then, since normally it would take people with obviously a lot more years, given that it's in a very competitive environment, especially in a very competitive time. So I thought it would be a great opportunity to look deeper into what Stella did that made her application stand out, and why she specifically decided that she wanted to do a PhD at a specific age or in this time of her career, when many people are just getting started into figuring out what they want to do for the rest of their lives. But without further ado, I will let Stella introduce a bit more about herself and we will take it from there.
Hi Manav, thank you so much for having me. It's really an honour to be on your wonderful podcast here. Hello everyone, my name is Stella Kozmér and I'm a first year PhD student at the University of Exeter. I'm an eating disorder researcher, so my research focuses on improving identification and management of bulimia and binge eating disorder in primary care. And it's been a very exciting journey for my PhD and my career as well.
Awesome. So let's go back in time to around a year ago, when I'm assuming this was the time when you were still applying or were applying to a bunch of schools. Did you ever had in mind that you wanted to do a PhD, or did it just come out of nowhere?
I always knew that I wanted to do a PhD, but I didn't have per se a set path or a set topic. Towards the end of my undergrad degree, I knew that I wanted to focus on eating disorders, but it was still kind of up in the air a little bit. I was still undecided and I still had different pathways in my mind because I was applying for medical school as well, to do medicine. So it was kind of there ever since as a kid, but it kind of evolved throughout the years as well.
And how long would you say did the application process take for the PhD course that you're now enrolled into?
It was very short. It was exactly this time last year when I was putting together my application whilst writing my dissertation and surviving COVID. I only had a very limited time for it and it was definitely pressure. And I remember writing it in a way that, sure, I don't have a chance. I don't even have my bachelor's degree done, basically. But I gave it a go because you can't lose anything with it. And here we go.
Did you consult specific people about your decision to go for the PhD course? Or was it, you knew inside that this is what I'm going to do. I don't care if I haven't even received my undergraduate degree yet, but I just want to go ahead and, it's either a do or die moment.
I didn't really consult anyone regarding whether to go or not. I was consulting regarding how to write an application and get some help regarding writing a good proposal as well, etc. And I consulted obviously my current supervisor at that time as well to kind of think about ideas, how to shape them. But I knew that this is an opportunity that I should take on, especially because it wasn't a topic that I was interested in and I wanted to focus on it. And yeah, it was kind of a opportunity that came specifically for me in a way, because even though it was in Exeter and I really wanted to go somewhere else, but with the amazing supervisor team I have here and with the topic I have, I couldn't have gotten anything better.
Do you ever ask yourself, if you weren't doing a PhD right now, what would you be doing right now?
I think I know what I would be doing, but I still think sometimes, what if I wouldn't have gotten it? And what if I would be in a process of kind of applying for medical school still? But I'm glad that I'm in a position where I am. It really boosts my confidence as well, and I just know that this is where I'm supposed to be.
Now, I know this question might seem cliche. Are you still accepting the fact that everything happens for a reason?
Oh, 100%. And now I believe in it more than ever, especially that I have to make a very difficult decision that I would never thought I will have to make. But all I could think of is what you used to say to me, everything happens for a reason. And you know what? It is true. It sometimes doesn't make sense at that moment, but reflecting on my rejections in the past and just the journey I've taken in psychology as well, everything does happen for a reason.
Okay. Do you ever feel like you doubt yourself sometimes when you are in the course that, oh, look at me, I'm just straight out of university and I'm in this program with people who've had a lot more years of experience or a lot more older than me? Does that terrify you in a way?
Oh, 100%. Imposter syndrome is real. Even though, you know, we went into the same PhD program, it still makes you question, you know, are you good enough for it? And do you have enough training? And especially because the program is a training program, it's there for you to learn new things as well. You don't know everything, obviously. That's why it's a long program. It still makes you feel like, oh, I should know this already. No, it's fine. That's why it's a training program. That's why you get to the point when you get a doctorate, and not you don't get a doctorate immediately. You need to train up for it. But I definitely have those doubts every other month, whether I'm suitable for this, whether I have enough knowledge for it, because you realise that there's so much out there to know and you only know a fraction. But then you talk to other people and you realise that you know way more than you think you do. But yeah, it's a real thing. It's kind of a taboo topic as well at the same time within like that level. But I'm very lucky to have people around me who are supportive and open, and we can discuss these states and emotions openly without any judgment or without any, side eyes.
That's really interesting that you say that, because now I wanted to ask if you think that imposter syndrome, and I'm pretty sure it happens to everyone eventually.
Oh yeah, 100%. Everybody feels sometimes like they don't belong there, or they're just not good enough to be there. But there is a reason why you got in. There is a reason why you've been picked from all of those applicants, why people with decades of experience and research and knowledge thought that you are suitable for that position. And even though sometimes I still question it, and I still sometimes ask, what did they see? And why me? I'm sure you had someone else better, but at the end of the day, they know what they're doing. And 100%. They knew why they picked me.
Do you now ask yourself, is there something in your application that stood out? There has to be something that impressed them so much that they had to, let you into the program, or do you ever just feel like it was a fluke?
I do think that my clinical experience was very helpful, as my research ethics is based on my experience as a healthcare assistant. So I believe in practice-based research, which is that I use my practice as a clinician to lead my research. This kind of ensures that patients are heard within the research area, that I focus on what actually patients want, need, how they feel, and it reflects the questions I ask as well. And I think the years of work I've done in different wards helped me quite a lot to stand out from the others. And also I was very lucky to be part of a big research group within Exeter that really gave me so many different skills within research. That was definitely a kind of golden internship, shall I say.
Could you please take us through your previous experiences in terms of the opportunities you had in the different wards, or more about this research that you participated in?
So the research I've been working on is and was an fMRI research on personal disorder. Currently we are at the stage of analysing data, and we are going on a World Congress in Israel, on the World Congress of Neuropsychoanalytic Research, which is very exciting. It was definitely very interesting. I wouldn't have too many details at this time, due to the fact that most of the stuff is not published yet. So hopefully once they're out, it's going to be a lovely thing to look into. When it comes to working on different awards, it was definitely a journey for me as well as a clinician, to learn and to put theory into practice and to see theory in practice, because that is a completely different thing. I used to work in an acute psychiatric ward with a private healthcare company, and then I've moved into the NHS, and I was focusing more on eating disorders, as that is my area of specialty. It definitely makes you think, it humbles you, but it also puts life into perspective as well, and it makes you think differently about your friends too, because you realise how things could go wrong from one day to another, and that all you can do is your very best to support someone, and sometimes it's just the very minimal things they need that you would think that it's not as helpful, such as just listening, not saying anything, not finding a solution, not giving an answer, just listening and acknowledging, and that's it. And it's a tough pill to swallow for someone who is very solution focused and problem focused. But that's why you go out to the field and work with people and gain that experience, so you can reflect on yourself as well and become a better clinician, and also reflect that in your research.
Was there a specific reason why you wanted to focus on eating disorders?
Yeah, there are several reasons. One of them is personal, and then the other is the fact that it's a massive problem all around the world. It's not focused enough on it because it's fairly youngish, especially around binge eating disorder or bulimia. There was not enough funding for eating disorder research in the past, and it was still considered a weird disorder because of the concept of the whole not eating or overeating. It's a difficult one to treat. And obviously my personal reasons as well, because I do battle with it as well till this day, and usually you get inspired by your own life and with your own experience when choosing a PhD. Not everyone, of course, but I found that often people had some parts of their life that just inspired them to choose that particular topic.
I agree on that as well. I think definitely life experiences teach us so much about ourselves, but also what we want to discover, and I guess more what we have to seek in this, our limited time on Earth, why we want to study something so in depth, because we're just so fascinated by it. Anyways.
Oh yeah, 100%.
Totally agree on that. So back to the whole career journey, I'm interested in knowing, what are your thoughts on rejection? How do you deal with rejection? were you rejected throughout the journey? And I'm sure because everyone's dealt with rejection at one point in their lives.
Oh yeah, I've been rejected so many times. My whole life is based on rejections, basically. If it wasn't for me being rejected from the other universities, I would have never ever ended up in Exeter. Thanks for Oxford for rejecting me. Thank you, I really appreciate it. You really helped me with that. But obviously at that time it was a very bad situation. I remember crying before my shift. I was about to start my shift at the bookshelf, and I was crying in the staff room because I got rejected. And now that I've been in Exeter, I've done my degree here, I can only say thank you for those admission people there for deciding that way, because nothing against Oxford, but I think it would have broken me as a person as well. Whilst Exeter really helped me to build myself up, allowed me to kind of bloom really, and I had great support here, so I wouldn't have changed it for a world. But thanks for the rejection. But obviously at the times it's difficult to think about it this way, that well, everything happens for a reason, just like you would say. It would be much easier if people would be sharing their rejection journeys. So just like we've discussed during undergrad and the event that you and I organised about debunking rejection and failure, it would be so much easier to not feel this bad about being rejected if people would be open about their rejection and would talk about how it helped them to build their skills up or focus on themselves as individuals. But it definitely depends on how you take it. You can take it as a push to become a better version of yourself and be better at what you want to do. But it also can be very discouraging. It's definitely something I'm looking at with a different side and a different kind of approach at the moment, because academia is rejections, nothing else. It's solved rejections with sometimes a acceptance, and the same goes for journals as well. And it's coming. I will be in the position when I will be getting rejected all the time, but it makes it already a bit easier that I know that this is the case. And no matter how good you are, no matter how many years you've been in academia, how many research you've done, how important, well, every research is important, but like how up to date or trendy your research is, you will get rejected. You could be the biggest name in the field, you will get rejected. And that is the one thing that kind of helped me see rejection in a different way, because I can see these academics whose names are, you just drop their names and everybody's wowed completely that, oh, that person is brilliant. They just got rejected from a research bid, and it just shows that it really doesn't matter. It's not against you, it's not against your skills, it's not against anything about you. It's just someone had a particular day and looked at your application a particular way. That's it.
Well, Stella, you should be a motivational speaker, because the way you just said that was so real in a way. And I just felt like exactly how you said it, that there's always going to be someone better than you, one, but also rejection is redirection. There's always something better ahead. You always have to go through a bunch of doors getting slammed in your faces just to get that one yes. And that one yes just changes everything.
Yeah, exactly. If it wasn't for my rejection from Oxford, I wouldn't be in Exeter. I wouldn't have gotten amazing friends and opportunities. If it wasn't for my rejection from medical school, I wouldn't be on a PhD at the moment. And I wouldn't be probably the person who I am now. And I wouldn't know that this is really for me. This is really what I want to do in my life. So it is something to consider, but it helps if you have supportive people around you who can appreciate the positive side of rejection and failure. But also, I think it's just the fact that failure is such a negative word in current situation, in current society. It's taken with so much negativity. I would come up with something brand new just to name it, because I think that is one of the reasons why people feel a bit ashamed to talk about them, because failing something, it doesn't sound nice. It really is personal. So let's just refocus it as, well, I need to learn something.
I think rejection is such a taboo subject. It's something not many people are willing to talk about.
Yeah, in the medical field, it's getting talked about a little bit, but I still feel that it's still a bit staged, and it's still a bit more like a TED talk, you know? So yeah. It's more of a, well, we need to talk about rejections to medical schools, but it's still not addressing really the core emotions there. It's more of a, well, it's a fact that you usually get rejected from med school. It's rare that you would get in for the first try. But there's a long way to go, definitely, to kind of decriminalize failing, because at this point, sometimes it does feel like it's always criminal to fail something. It's not, but sometimes it can, especially internally, it can feel like that.
Okay. I do have 2 questions before we get to the end of the episode. And the second last question, or one of the ways to end off, is on a positive note. Now, since we've been talking about rejections, I now wanted to talk more about success. And in a more positive light, I wanted to know, when you got your acceptance letter into the PhD course, where were you and what time of day was this and how did you feel? Obviously, I'm sure it was a mixture of emotions. And who was the first person you told or called? And
I have this memory very vividly in my mind. I usually I used to check my emails before bed, no matter whether it's 11 p.m, midnight, whatever time it is. I always check my emails. That evening, I didn't. Somehow, I didn't. At 11 p.m, the acceptance was there already, but I didn't check it. And then in the morning, it was 8 a.m. so. And again, the first thing for me as a workaholic was I wake up and I check my emails, because surely I'm going to have some new there. Obviously, I had nothing usually, but I still checked it. And I had an email from my current supervisor there. And I was like, oh my God, it is, I will know now. And it was a very, very long email, loads of details, and I'm like, okay, where does it say? It's still about interview. And then I just read a sentence in the middle of the email. It wasn't even highlighted, nothing. It was just a random sentence that said that I've got accepted and they're offering me the place. And I just remember trying to not scream because my ex-flatmate was sleeping. And I just went to the living room. I was sitting on the floor and I was crying. I was just sobbing. That's it. On the floor. And my ex-flatmate, she came into the living room and she was looking at me in complete disbelief with like, what is going on here? And I just looked at her and it was more of a, I've got it. I've got in. And then I've called my nan. She was my very first call. Who I've told that I've got in. I've called her because obviously she was praying for me. I've even told her, tell the whole church, every single old lady in the village, everybody should pray for me so I could get in. And she was really holding her fingers crossed for me, and she really wanted me to get in. And I did, and she was really excited because I'm the only one in the family on a doctorate. I'm the only one who, hopefully, one day, become doctor. And she never had the opportunity to go to university, despite being an absolutely intelligent and so bright woman. So I'm kind of carrying on that within the family, especially that my surname is her maiden name as well. So it was a moment for us.
Wow, that's such a beautiful memory and such a precious moment. I'm sure you're going to remember that for many, many years. And I'm pretty sure you've already done your family proud, and you will do once you get your official doctorate title.
Hopefully in a few years.
Yes. How long is your program, by the way?
Funding is for 3 years, but obviously, usually you don't finish it in 3 years. So I have no idea how long it will take. It all depends how my second project goes as well. So obviously, you have a timeline in your head, but recruiting participants and collecting data is not something you can really speed up. It's not something you can just make happen from one day to another. So, it might delay it, might not, who knows? It's up in the future.
Okay, that's interesting. Good to know. And a way to end off the episode, if there is one piece of advice someone told you or you could give to someone who is in your position, but is also on the verge of just giving up, already tried, again, rejected over and over again, and really wants to get into a PhD course, because I'm pretty sure it's the case for many people, whether this is for an undergraduate degree, a master's, or a PhD, it's not easy at all. And I'm sure when you were going through this whole journey, there has to be something that kept you going. What was that?
Good question. You've really caught me there. I don't know what was that thing that kept me going, but it is there because it still keeps me going again. It still keeps me going even further. It's difficult to name it. It's in a way personal motivation, long-term goals in life as well, but also just wanting to change the whole world, of course.
Yeah, 100%.
Change the medical field. But it's difficult to name it, but it's just something tiny in me that just keeps me going. And obviously sometimes you need some validation from outside to kind of know that you are on the right path. What you do, is it good? But that's something everybody needs once in a blue moon, a pat on their back that they're all right, that they're doing good. 100%. And if you out there is someone who is on the verge of giving up, as cliche as it is, don't. If it would be your friend doing that, you would be the most supportive person to them, and you would tell them to never give up because they have it, and you would be really kind to them, and you would be really supportive, and you would come up with such a creative way of trying to approach it from different perspectives. But it is difficult, and I know that it is difficult to do it for yourself, to be kind to yourself. To be kind to yourself. It's a challenge by itself, but it will help. Reach out to people on LinkedIn. I'm sure that if you just pop a message to someone in that course, on that uni, they would be more than happy to even meet up with you or just have a chat with you and ask their help in writing up something, or, just some supportive thoughts about an application. And I know that sometimes people have this fear that, they don't want to bother and they cannot repay this person in any way, really. They would just take something away from them, which can be their time, their knowledge, etc. But remember that that particular person can decide to give you that time or piece of knowledge or whatever it is. They can decide on that. If they decide that they give it to you, just take it. They know that they won't probably get anything back apart from a thank you. But sometimes that is what they need. That's it. And also, it's, someone who is still till this day mentoring some of the students. It's also a good feeling for us and for me per se, because I can help someone else to get to their journey, which I know how hard it is and how many challenges you can face with it. And God knows they might not have that friend group who is so supportive and not toxic or, I don't know, understanding. So I could be that person. So never be afraid to reach out and ask for help. It's not a waste of time of theirs. It's not a burden, nothing like that. If it is, you will be told. You will be told to just get the hell away and, don't bother them, which is also fine. But ask for help, because you would tell the same thing for your friend if it would be them, but you wouldn't allow it to yourself, because you should be doing it all alone. But research and academia is about working together. And also in life, really. You work together with your friends if you are going on a holiday together or you're organising a party. It's not all alone that you do. Someone brings wine, someone brings food, and someone brings decoration. And if that is how everyday tasks are done, then why are we taking away in higher professional positions? It's still the same.
That was a very thoughtful response in terms of the advice you gave, especially just because you just really don't know what people are going through. You never do. And obviously having someone as a mentor or even somebody you can talk to on the side, not even just about, obviously everyone's personal business is their own issues is their business, but I guess someone to talk to about something else, whether it's that one piece of advice just to get motivated, someone can really change your perspective around what you currently see. And I guess in that way, learn to appreciate the deeper meaning of, you know what, I can do it, or minimizing the effects of self-doubt, because it's so easy to slip into that where you're just telling yourself that you're not good enough. But in the end, everyone's capable of achieving. It's just self-belief at the end of the day.
And also you can't change the rigged system, because sometimes the system is rigged. Sometimes the sex are against you and not in your favour. So unfortunately, it is the reality of it. You can't do anything about it. All you can do is try and preserve yourself and not let these decisions ruin your aspirations, ruin you as a person, and all the hard work you've put into. Because believe me, if you're at that point, you must have put years and years of hard work into it, which is impressive by itself, and you should give credit for yourself to it.
One thing I like to ask myself is, if you already started this journey, might as well see how far it can take, because that's the only thing that matters.
Yeah, 100%. You never know where you're going to end up, and all these rejections for me and kind of these sideways made me rethink my medical career so many times. And I'm still ending up at the point where I still want to be a doctor. I still want to go to medical school. I still want to put myself through all of that hard work again within the medical profession. But the journey that I'm taking to get to that end decision is still different. Every other year, with every rejection, I appreciate more things. I reflect on so many other, and it shapes my decision, and it gets deeper, and it just supports, yes, this is why I want to do it, and yes, I actually want to do it for sure. So sometimes you need that time off to challenge yourself. Why you want to do it? Do you really want to do it, or is it just an idea, or is it just because that's what you do usually within that profession? For instance, going for a master's immediately after undergrads, or going for a master's because that's what the profession wants. Is it really what you want though? Or is it just something that you want to do because that's how it's supposed to be? So these small, it's not a setback really, these small pauses in life do help you to realise what you want, because anyway you would end up, obviously it's never a waste, but wasting your time on something that you never enjoyed from the first place. And you could have spent that time on something, even if you take a year out, on something that you really are passionate about, that you really want to do. And, you know, it's obviously, you never waste time. I didn't waste a degree with psychology, even though I wanted to go to med school even before I'd done a degree in psychology. It's not a waste. It taught me loads, and I do believe I'm going to be a better doctor because of it. But perhaps if I would have waited a year and reflected on myself or worked on myself as a person, I would be already in med school with the degree already in it. Who knows? Nobody knows. But that pause can help you a lot. So don't be afraid to take it, but also don't give up.
Nobody knows, and that's the beauty of it. Just enjoy the experience, enjoy the ride, and that's what makes uncertainty exciting in a way, but totally. Anyways, thank you so much for being here today, Stella. It was great to have you on and really enjoy this conversation, and obviously learned a lot about, I guess, the journey from an undergrad but straight onto a PhD. And obviously at such a young age, you've obviously been so mature throughout your journey, and the things you've taken on, the things you've learned, the life experiences, how that's all shaped on to obviously and well-deservedly get you onto this course that you're doing what exactly what you want, and you're following your dreams. I think that's just the main thing. It's almost like you're doing this PhD and now you're gonna go into medical school after, and you're persevering, and that's just something that's really inspiring to see. So thank you again for being here.
Thank you so much for having me here. It's really a wonderful experience.
Awesome. Thank you guys for listening. If you're inspired by Stella's story, feel free to get in touch with her on LinkedIn or Instagram. I'll leave it below if you're watching this on YouTube. And feel free to subscribe on this YouTube channel if you're watching on YouTube, or give a thumbs up to this video. And stay tuned for more exciting guests coming up in the next few episodes.